Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America, graphic, fast-paced, captivating. The new novel Hope Found takes readers to a survival saga of rocketing suspense. Now, besides the entertainment value, the story depicts the basic human need for acceptance in a society that too often castigates those outside the norm. It also probes the issue of diversity, the need to respect each other's uniqueness, if humanity is to flourish together in harmony and peace. Now, the author of the book is Jackie McMillan. She lives with her husband in a town south of Glasgow, Scotland, has been writing in some form or another for most of her life. She does it to escape from the pressures of daily life and decided to try if she could take it somewhere. This is her first novel, and it's an exciting novel. It's a graphic, fast-paced, captivating, as I mentioned. It's called Hope Found, and Jackie McMillan joining us from Scotland. Jackie, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Hi there. It's great to be with you today.
You know, I really enjoyed this book, and this book is going to take you somewhere. You're going to bring a lot of enjoyment to a lot of people who really will enjoy this reading. Talk about, first of all, well, let's mention the main character. The main character is Jenna McLeod. She's like 28 years old. Talk a little bit about her, and then I want to talk about how you develop the characters and the storyline for the book. Talk about Jenna.
Jenna's just like any normal person, just trying to get on with her daily life. She's always known something's not been quite right with her, but never known what it is. So she just sort of looked around, tried to find what's what, and then she stumbled upon these vampires, and it was only until then that she realised that they're the ones that can actually help her out with it. Now, it's just someone trying to fit in, trying to find themselves, find out a bit more about themselves when they don't really know much. And one of the main things through the book is there's something wrong with Jenna, and she has been to many doctors, and none of them can find out what the issue is. But meeting the vampires, that is where she finds out what the problem is eventually.
Well, yeah, and talk about when she meets the Alex. Let's talk about him because he's introduced into her life, and this really changes her life forever. Talk about Alex and what he's going through and the peril that he finds himself in, and he actually needs Jenna.
Well, Alex is... A lot of people think vampires can live forever, and in certain ways they can, but for Alex, he's trying to get over the death of his father. They had been estranged for some time and just started to get back together, and that's when his father was killed. So he's trying to get over his death, but in the same way he's also been thrown into the role that his father had done in the vampire race, and he doesn't really want it, but he's had to do it because there has been no one else there. And meeting Jenna has helped him realise that maybe he can do this, and it is something that he wants to do. So with him helping her, she is also going to be helping him to fulfill what he didn't want in the first place.
We're talking about the new novel Hope Found by Jackie McMillan. The book is available at a number of places. Of course, Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, at BookVenture.com, the bookstore. You can link on directly to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and go directly to information on the book. Where did this story come from? Is this something that you've been thinking about for a number of years? Talk about the development of the story and then the characters.
The story's just something that came to me. I've always been interested in the vampires and the werewolves, shifters, magic. I've always been watching a lot of TV programs and films about it and reading a lot about it. So it's something that I have been keenly interested in. And I started to say, right, okay, I'll try and write something with this. And to be honest, the story, I had a sort of idea of where I wanted to go. But when I started writing it down, sometimes it took me in that direction, sometimes it took me in a completely different direction. And it just seemed to come with the way it went.
That's interesting because so often you talk to authors and they've got a real strict outline. It's like, okay, this is where I'm going to go. Yet you will talk to others, and I think you fall into that category where once you actually get involved, it's like this story is not taking me there. It wants to go in a different direction. So you're saying what at times the story actually would lead you in the direction as opposed to the opposite.
Yeah, I know there's been a few parts when I wrote it. I knew where I was going with it, or I thought I knew where I was going with it. But when I started writing it down, I got to the stage where this isn't where I was expecting to end up. And it is just where the story leads me. In saying that, I always knew how it was going to end. So parts of it, I knew where I was going to go, and I just had to get there. But I took a few detours along the road.
Jackie McMillan, our guest on the program, author of the new book, Hope Found. The book's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. What kind of research do you have to do for something like this? This is such a popular topic worldwide now, and I'm sure that there was some research to make sure that you were factually accurate, as close as you could be in some of the details.
Yeah, it is. It's the internet. Before I started anything, I did some research on sort of broad topics of what I wanted to write about. And then as I got further into the storyline, I was coming across something, and I thought, right, I need to know more about it. So I left the writing and went and did a little bit more research on it to make sure I got it properly, I got it correct, so that I wasn't saying the wrong thing, and then just take it from there.
While
But
at the same
a lot of research.
Well, yeah, and at the same time, taking that information and making it entertaining, a good story, which it is. The name of the book is Hope Found. Jackie McMillan, our guest on the program. Talk about the challenges of taking a realistic story and fantasy storylines and putting these together, because as I'm reading the characters are very believable in this vampire world. Talk about trying to balance that.
It's difficult because I couldn't go too far to one side or too far to the other, because when I was in writing it, I didn't want to fall into a complete vampire story or a non-vampire story. I wanted somewhere down the middle, so it was like trying to, as you say, balance it coming through, and I did find it difficult. There were parts that I had written that I felt as if it was too much. It was starting to lean too much towards one side, so I took them out or rewrote them so that it was more balanced, because I wanted it to be suitable for anyone. A lot of people don't like the vampire genre or a fantasy genre, and I wanted to appeal to all people, not just the people interested in that. So it's like keeping the balance. It was very difficult, and it still is difficult in writing as well, to keep that the balance there so that it doesn't swing one way or the other.
You know, it's interesting, as you read, you get so caught up in the characters, and then you realize, well, okay, this is a vampire. This is not like my neighbor, but you've made these people so realistic, so lifelike as you're reading. I mentioned in the beginning that it's very entertaining, but I don't want to say lessons, because that's coming across as maybe too, educational. It's not the case. It's very entertaining. But you're dealing with some real issues and needs of human beings in the book as well, aren't you? This is entertaining, and as you're reading, there are a few lessons along the way.
Yeah, it's not just meeting in with the vampires, who have always been typically portrayed as horror victims and killers and all the rest of it. Just trying to put them through that they're just the same as everyone else. They've got daily lives, and everyone goes through. They've got the same troubles as what humans have. And again, any issues that we've got, being accepted into the community because you may be slightly different is difficult. The vampires have got exactly the same thing. If they're slightly different, they don't fit in, and they get pushed out of the community.
Yeah, and Jenna is a very fascinating character. Not a lot of friends. We gave a little description of her, and she's sort of what the savior at the end. I mean, they really need her. Talk about, without giving too much away, how that whole relationship there, the maturity of that as that develops.
It's because she's basically a sort of loner. She has a few close friends, but not many. And finding out, because she has this illness on her, not knowing what it is, meeting up with Alex, finding out he can actually help her, and then getting her to actually believe in him is a big step for her. And something that she would never have never expected of herself, to actually take that step, to believe in other people that she's the one that can help. And it took a lot of courage for her to actually step up and do that, because a lot of people would just walk away and leave them to it.
Yeah, and that's why as you're reading, it's like, I really like this character. We're talking about the book Hope Found. Jackie McMillan, our guest of the program. The book's available all across the country, the usual places: Barnes & Noble, Amazon, at bookventure.com/bookstore. All that information available at the website thisweekinamerica.us. I mentioned that you've been enjoying reading and wanting to write and writing for a number of years. Talk about some of your influences. Obviously, writing and reading have been very important aspects of your life.
Yeah, as since I was very small, I've always been reading some sort of books. Like anyone else, your tastes change over the years. And I could probably say my first thing that I got into that I really liked on this genre was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series.
Yes.
And that sort of started me down the path of liking the vampires and the supernatural items and that, and then everything just sort of grew from there. There's a whole host of different TV series I've watched where they have been involved with vampires or werewolves or magic or things like that, and I've just sort of taken it from there. There are a few authors that I like, and I constantly keep rereading the books coming through. J.R. Ward is one of them. And I can't remember the other name of the author, my mind's went blank. And it's just going through, just picking up different things. If I like the look of it, I'll try it out, see what it's like, and take it from there.
Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning that you've done a lot of reading, and reading for you is an escape. Talk about actually the writing process. Is that escape as well? I mean, I'm thinking that, okay, you sort of shut the door on Jackie McMillan and you enter this world as you're writing. Is writing an escape for you as well?
Yes, definitely. When I first started writing the book, I mainly started writing it to get away from my work. And believe it or not, the book was mostly written, probably I would say about 85 to 90% written in my lunch hour, just to get away from my desk, away from everyone coming up and annoying me and everything else. I used to sit at the table, put my headphones in, and just write away. And that's the way I was able, that's really how the book came about, was mainly doing it there just to get away from work.
Well, yeah, when you have annoying people at work and it's time for lunch, don't just fret about it and try to hide. Actually write something. So you took that time, that emotion, and you turned it into productive time. The book being Hope Found. Jackie McMillan, our guest in the program. A few minutes left in the show. This was the first novel. I believe you've written a second, and you're working on finishing the trilogy now.
Yes, I am. The second's finished. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through the third one. I've had a few family issues at the last year, so I've not actually got back to writing it again, but I am trying to get back into doing that so that I can get it finished, because I want to finish the 3 books so that I know that they're there. And when I started Hope Found, I knew how the third one was going to end. Well, in fact, it only started out to be 1 book. And as I was writing it, I realised I wasn't going to fit it into 1 book, so I decided to make it a trilogy. So I always know how I'm going to end it, I just need to get there.
What's it like when you plan the end for the story and for the characters? How difficult is that to, when you finish the third in the trilogy and it's over? How difficult is that, or how difficult do you think it will be to okay, the story's over and I'm moving on now? Can you let it go?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll need to see how I go when I get there. But in my mind, the way I'm planning on ending it, I can end it there, or depending on how I go and how I feel, I'm hoping that I could even maybe do more along the same with the characters for other storylines, furthering the story. Because in my mind, these 3 books is setting out what is going to happen. And if I want to, I may do a fourth one. I'll wait and see.
And we will be watching and waiting and see, because we really enjoy what you've done in Hope Found. Looking forward to the other two books in the trilogy. I watched the book trailer, which is available on YouTube. If you go look, Google Hope Found, and you'll see the trailer. This has a real television movie-ish type of feel to it. It's something that could very easily be adapted for the screen. Is that something that you would like to pursue?
Yes, it is. The trailer was done with a different publisher, and it's one I had problems with. So, and that was what they were gearing it towards, of getting people interested in liking it, taking it up to do a TV movie, a big screen movie, TV series or something like that. And I must say, I'm actually pleased with it. I was so surprised when it came through, and I didn't really know what to expect, and it is there. But yeah, I would love to, if it was possible, to get it on the screen, whether it be the big screen or small screen.
You know, it's interesting, and a couple of minutes left of the program. Jackie McMillan, our guest, the author of Hope Found. I had sort of a visual impression of what the main characters looked like, and then seeing them in the trailer. When you actually saw them in the trailer, was that close to how you would proceeded in developing these characters, what they would look like?
The male part, yes, it was very similar to what I would expect for Alex. Maybe slightly shorter than what I've anticipated. Jenna, she sort of like it, but there are changes that I would make if it did get that stage, just to have someone a little bit more in line of what I was thinking. But for someone where you give them the outline and they make that up, I was happy with it. But no, there would be some changes I'd probably make.
A couple minutes left. I'm going to take this because it's interesting. We get so many people that would like to write a book, and they're hesitant in doing it. And I know there are hills and valleys as you're going through this process. What has it been like from a positive standpoint to actually have that first book, when it's actually published and you start getting comment back on the book? Talk about that experience. That has to be very, very satisfying.
It is extremely satisfying. When I first wrote it and got the very first proof copy in, I couldn't believe it. Seeing something in book form that has been sort of professionally produced, that I had actually produced, that I had written, it's an unbelievable feeling. And all the hard work and frustration and writer's block and everything else that had happened before it got to that stage was forgotten for seeing this one book. And then when people started to buy it and read it, that's when the nerves kicked in again, because I was wary, how would they like it? Strangers, I wasn't too bad if they were reading it, but with people that I know, I was very wary as to how they would take it. In fact, my best friend read it, and she doesn't like that sort of thing. And she said a few choice words when she finished it, because she really liked it, and she wanted what happened afterwards.
So it was all worth the process. As a reader, it certainly was worth you going through the process and writing it, because it is enjoyable. A paranormal fantasy. We're talking about Hope Found. Jackie McMillan, our guest on the program. You can find the book, again, at all the usual places: Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, bookventure.com/bookstore. You can link onto our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and we'll put you in touch directly with information on the book. Jackie, thank you so much for being with us on the program. We look forward to seeing book number 2 and book 3 you're working on in the trilogy, and then we'll see whether these characters continue beyond the trilogy. It'll be fun to watch. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It has been our pleasure. And our guest of the program, Jackie McMillan. The book is called Hope Found. You'll find all the information available at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Taking a brief break, back after these messages.